everybody. Today we're going to be talking about how to pass the ASVAB with over 110 in GT score. So first things first, we got to understand what the scoring looks like. So to join the Army with a high school diploma, you need 31 points. And then to join the Air Force, you also need 31. For Coast Guard, it's 40. Marine Corps is 31. And Navy is 31. It's a little bit different with people with GED. So you just gotta kind of research what type of scores you need to be able to join the type of branch that you want to join. So now that we talked about what type of scores you need to be able to join the military, let's talk a little bit more about what and how the scoring looks like. So this is my personal scores for the ASVAB. So in the ASVAB, you're going to be tested on all these sections. So what that means is this is general science, this is arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, mathematical knowledge, electronic information, auto shop, mechanical, assembling object, and so on. You're going to be tested on all these sections, but your AFQT score is only going to be these four. So arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and mathematical knowledge. Your AFQT score will determine your GT score. I hope that makes sense. So depending on what type of jobs you want to do, then these type of scores will help you determine if you're qualified for what you want. So for example, let me just go back to the type of jobs here. For example, if I want to join the combat engineer, I need a CO score of 87. So that means I'm going to look back here, CO score. I need 87 and I have 105. That means I can qualify for it. Other jobs could be like, let me see. If I want to be a technical engineer, I need at least ST101. So I need 101 in ST. So I'm going to look at this score and say, okay, do I have at least 101? Then I can qualify for that job. If you're trying to join as an officer, you need at least 110 in GT score. And then that will determine if you're even qualified to get your packet sent to the board. So now that we talked a little bit more about how the scoring works and what you may need for your scores to be able to join the type of job that you want, let's talk about how your recruiter can help you. So when I went to my recruiter's office the first time, they had asked me to take a practice exam. That way they can kind of gauge what my knowledge looks like. After that exam, I went ahead and requested some tools that can help me study for the ASVAB later on for the real deal. So first things first, they gave me a March to Success information here. What this is just a website where you can log in and sign up for kind of like practice tests. So in this section or in this website, you'll focus more on like high school math and verbal sections. So they're going to be teaching you about like algebra, some like factorial quizzes, geometry quizzes and things like that, just so you can kind of refresh on those. And then they also have some grammar questions or Quizlets. And then they'll also have word knowledge for you to kind of look over and get quizzed on for the word knowledge portion. Another thing they gave me was a Quizlet of some of the words that I may find in the word knowledge portion. So some of these words were actually really helpful. I saw some of these words in the actual ASVAB. So they helped me understand or just memorize some of these words. I also went on Quizlet just to kind of do more research on the word knowledge portion. So I think those might be the two things that the recruiter can help you with. if you need more, tools or anything like that, you can always talk to your recruiter to see what they can help you with. So now that we talked about what recruiters can help you, let's talk about how you can help yourself pass the ASVAB. So in order to pass the ASVAB, you need to have a good motivation to why you're doing what you're doing. Because at this point, nobody's going to be, making sure that you're studying. You got to take accountability for your own to study and actually do well in order to join the military. So first things first, I think what could be very helpful is setting up schedule to study for specific topics. So for example, you can take Monday and Tuesday as for math and arithmetic reasoning, and you can probably take 1-2 hours a day. I only had 3 weeks to study, so I was using up maybe 2-3 hours a day to brush up on my math and my word knowledge, arithmetic reasoning, and things like that. Like I mentioned, those 4 things were really important to me because I'm trying to join as an officer. So my GT score was like the main goal that I wanted to have. So I focus on those 4 things because as an officer, I can't really choose my job. But if you're trying to join as an enlisted, I would definitely focus on what type of job you're trying to do and focus on those 4 things as well as like the job that you want. So for example, if you want to be like an electrician, I would definitely focus on like the electronic sections along with those 4 things. That way you can pass the ASVAB and then get the job that you want. So after you set up those schedules for yourself, make sure you are really committing to studying. Like I mentioned, nobody's going to be, nailing you down to study. You got to really study on your own and set your schedules to do so. By studying, you gotta actually really know what type of learner you are. So for myself, I'm a visual learner, so I like to watch things first and then read the book later. So I guess it's kind of like a combination of a visual learner as well as like a book learner. So what I did was I watched YouTube, I went on TikTok on my free time whenever I'm just on my phone. You can just search ASVAB practice test, and then there are so many people that are trying to help you succeed and get your scores up there. I use Colfax Math. Other people use Grammar Hero. And then on TikTok, I just search ASVAB practice exam or practice test, and then I see all these pages going through some of the questions, and you can go along with them. Some people also have like the phone app where you can just go through your phone and then it'll give you like daily questions and things like that. That way you can study even when you're not at home. And then another thing about this is you got to take a lot of practice tests once you're comfortable with the study. So you can't just be learning it and just taking it in. You got to really practice it. So what I mean by that is I would go on Google and just search ASVAB practice tests, and then there are a lot of websites that will give you free practice tests. That way you can practice them, because you got to practice it, especially for the math, because you can learn it, you can watch it all day, but if you don't solve it on your own, you're gonna struggle once you do the actual ASVAB. So make sure you do practice tests. And if you're not fully comfortable, you can do practice tests together with like videos online. So what I did is I would go on YouTube and search ASVAB practice tests. And then I use Colfax Math. So he would then have like a sheet of questions, and then you watch the video and you kind of solve it before him, and then you watch the video just to see how he solved it, and if you can do it easier, or if he does it easier, things like that. So you can definitely solve the problems together with like the YouTube, or if you have like a tutor, but I think you can do it. And then Another thing, when you're learning about math and arithmetic reasoning, mechanical knowledge, and things like that, there are going to be a lot of formulas, okay? In the math section, especially, there is a lot of like circumference of a circle, area of a circle, perimeter of a triangle, of a perimeter of trapezoid, right? So there's a lot of those. So what I recommend is actually writing down all the formulas you have for each section that you do. So this is a formula sheet that I created. So this is all for math, right? So it's just talking about like all the things that I just said. And then this is for electronic information. And this one is for mechanical knowledge. So it is a little bit confusing once you have all these formulas all in your head. You know, you may not understand if they're asking for like the perimeter of a square, a rectangle, but like you're on like the mechanical section, so maybe they're asking for like the mechanical advantage, in which you have to divide the output into like the input, things like that. So it is a lot of formulas, so please do write them down, because it can get confusing and you can get them all mixed up, because you may be thinking about a formula back in math, but you're all the way in like the electronics section. They're asking you for the voltage and you're like, I don't know what's going on, right? So you gotta section them up, write the formulas, and then memorize those formulas, because you cannot go back on your phone. You cannot look through your study sheets. You gotta memorize them, And then what I did actually, which I thought was really helpful, I have these. Let me show you guys. So I did this. Oh, sorry. So this is all about electronic information, right? You see that? This is all about general science, right? Sorry, the Zoom is like not good. And then this is about paragraph comprehension. This is about what's this? Assembling objects. Yes, and then this is word knowledge. There's multiple pages of this, as I can show you. These are all the words that I thought would be helpful. And then this is my mechanical comprehension topic. And then some of them are, oh my God, I am so sorry about this. And then for Photoshop, I actually drew it because I'm not very good with like cars and stuff like that. I didn't know how transmission works, or the starter diagram, or the engines. I didn't, I gotta be honest with you. And then I have like the multiplication table, because you're gonna be doing a lot of long divisions and multiplications, okay? So yeah, there's a lot of them. And then this is my mathematical knowledge portion. I think this is probably the longest one that I have. It's just kind of a bunch of the topics and questions that are very, very similar. So once you start doing practice tests, you will find that questions are kind of very, very similar. And they are just kind of asking the same questions with different numbers. So once you understand what they're asking for and how to solve those questions, then it will be very easy for you to go through with the test. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing anything here, because I do have a folder with all my papers here that I reviewed with. And I'm telling you, I brought this with me in my car before I even entered the recruiting office, just to make sure that I'm going through all of them again. And then I have this book that I bought from Barnes and Nobles. I think it was like maybe $18, $20 with tax, I think. I forgot. But it really is helpful. So like I said, I would watch a video first, and then I will go through the book. So for example, for the auto shop information, right? I don't know much about cars. So what I did was watch videos on YouTube and then read them up, like what they mean, like the definitions on the book. And then I understand more of what they're talking about. This book has 3 ASVAB tests, and then it has 2 AFQT practice tests. So you can take these after you're comfortable with all of them. And hopefully, you know, it goes really well, and then you can move on to the next one. But make sure you're taking rest, because you can study too much. Actually, you have to like process it, and you have to kind of be comfortable with the subject first before you move forward. So make sure you're learning it, processing it, and then practicing it. I think that would be the best way to kind of like study materials. Okay, great. I think that's pretty much all for the studying, but let's talk about what you can do the day before your test. So of course, you know, once you're all set, you'll talk to your recruiter, hey, I'm ready. And they'll be like, okay, come over, like let me get your information. And then I'll set up your ASVAB test, or like the Piecat test next week or something, right? So once you know the date of your ASVAB, the day before, make sure you're eating a lot of healthy foods. For me, the way I think that helped me was I worked out like the day before. Well, I usually work out, but I make sure that I work out the day before. And then, you know, that like do a little run, shake your body, like get all the stress out before you go into the night. And then eat healthy foods, you know, make sure you have enough protein, you know, whatever you do to eat healthy. And then sleep good the night before. For me, I was a little bit nervous, so I was having a little bit of a hard time sleeping, but you know, there's no shame to that. Everybody's going to experience it, I promise you. Just kind of like take those nerves and use them to your advantage. So the day of your test, I had to go to my test at I think 9 a.m. So I woke up, I think I woke up at like 7:15-ish. And then I make sure I just kind of like walked a little bit, eat good healthy foods, and then prepared for my exam. So, you know, I make sure like I take a shower, blah, 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 and then drove to the recruiter's office. Then I took my exam there, and then it took me, I think, about 3 hours. Yeah, about 3 hours. And then I went ahead and go to the maps to do my verification test. So there are 2 types of tests, by the way. There is a Piecat exam and there's the ASVAB exam. The only difference is that Piecat is not timed and ASVAB is timed. So Piecat usually happens at the recruiter's office, but you can also take the Piecat at your own home, and then you just have to take the verification exam at the maps where they are, you know, monitoring you to make sure that your score aren't like too far off for what your like Piecat exam is, score is. So pretty much I took the Piecat exam. My recruiter, you know, let me know that I'm taking the verification the next day. So after I finished with my actual Piecat exam at the recruiter's office, he drove me to MEPS to do my verification. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was probably 30 questions. Some of the questions were the same. Some of them are different, but it, like I mentioned, it probably took me like 30 minutes. If your Piecat verification test scores are like so super far off to what your Piecat exam is, then they may ask you to take the ASVAB again, like the timed version of the ASVAB. So please do not cheat, because it's only gonna hurt you in the long run. So please don't cheat. If you are taking the Piecat at home, don't cheat. If you are taking the Piecat at the recruiter's office, don't cheat, because you are going to be asked to take the same exam at MAPS, and they're going to be monitoring you. So Don't do it. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Anyways, if you are still struggling with the ASVAB, right? If you take the ASVAB and you're just like, I can't do this anymore, I just keep failing, or I just cannot get over the 31 mark, then talk to your recruiter about FAST class. So BSEP class or FAST class are kind of classes that will help you with the ASVAB pretty much. So they do meetings sometimes a couple times a week, and then teach you more things about the ASVAB, or do practice tests with you about the ASVAB. And then once you're ready, I think it takes about 4 to 8 weeks, I believe. And then they will help you, tackle the ASVAB, and then you can retake the ASVAB again. Now, if you're in a rush to just like you just want to join the Army already, or you just want to join the military already, then you can talk to your recruiter about going to a FAST class while you're before your basic training. So what that means is that you are still going to get paid, but your day-to-day or your job is pretty much just going to FAST classes or going to BSEP classes and passing that ASVAB, and then you can go ahead and retake the ASVAB and then go to basic. So all in all, that's pretty much what I think would be very helpful. I really hope that that kind of helped clear things up with some of the people that are looking to join the military. I will tell you this, please do not compare yourself to other people, because other people may find ASVAB really, really easy. And, they're just like, hey, like, it's easy for me, I don't have to study. That's totally fine. That is totally fine. It's okay to be challenged by the ASVAB, because not everybody is the same. Your score doesn't determine what their score is. Like, their score is not going to determine your job. So you got to focus on your own and don't look at other people's scores, because it only matters what your score is, because that's what's going to help you once you join the military. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and then I'll try to answer them in the comment, or I can make another video. But other than that, I wish you all the good luck, and I wish you all the best. I'm sure you can do this. I only had 3 weeks to study, and that's what I got. I'm sure if you have longer than that, you're gonna do much better. But anyways, that's all. Bye.